Willkommen, this is Julia.
And this is Shane. And this is Think Plant-Based. Think Plant-Based. Make sure to check out recipes, health tips, travel tips at www.thinkplantbased.com.
And we're officially on iTunes, so please rate and write us a review on iTunes.
Write us a review. Give us 2 stars, 3 stars, maybe 5 stars. Let us know.
For sure, 5.
Yeah, I mean, who would give us 2 stars anyways, right? But yeah, make sure to do that because that's how we get found.
We are also on YouTube. Check us out and find us on Think Plant-Based.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
Welcome. And we have a very special guest today, all the way from Vancouver, Canada. So close.
Yeah.
Hi, neighbor. Hi, Sandra.
Sandra.
Welcome to our show.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm a longtime listener of your pod, really honored to be a guest here.
Oh, what a pleasure to have you. Yeah. And please tell the listeners more about yourself.
I'm sort of a native Vancouverite. I was born in Montreal, but my family moved here right after I was born. Got my degree in English literature and film studies. And right after that, got into public relations, ran a PR agency for just over 10 years. And when I closed that company, that was right around the time I went vegan, which was an 11-year journey. It took me a while to get here. Wow. I'll be almost, it'll be 5 years as a vegan in April of this year. And I've since started a new business in 2020 as the Content Doctor. So I'm a content writer, marketing consultant for primarily vegan businesses. And I also help authors with a number of services. Obviously would love to work with more vegan authors, but right now I'm open to all sorts of authors. And then, published my second book, the world's first vegan marketing book, Vegan Marketing Success Stories.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
And thank you. And so that came out in November. And that's sort of the big project that I've been working on for the past year. And so it's out in the world now, and now just doing all of these kind of post-launch interviews to get it out there further.
That's awesome.
That's super exciting.
Yeah.
And how did your vegan journey all began?
Yeah, tell listeners how you started it.
So it started with watching Earthlings at the end of 2007. All the vegans will know this, free to watch online. And it just really impacted me. I kind of had heard about veganism before that and knew that would be the most ethical way to live, but it just did not even cross my mind to pursue it because it just seemed like such a hard thing to do.
Right.
But after watching that, so it took me a couple years to cut meat out of my diet. And then for a good chunk of time, I was still technically pescatarian. So eating some seafood, some dairy, but I really learned to cook either vegan or vegetarian during the week. So that was sort of my routine. And then when I went out on weekends, sometimes I would get like fish and chips or the fish option and that sort of thing.
Right.
And then my husband and I went on our honeymoon to New York City in 2017 and ate at Iron Chef Morimoto's restaurant. And I had the best seafood meal of my life there. And I was like, it's not going to get any better than this. So I'm going to leave on a high note. And that was my last seafood meal. And then from there, it was just dairy. So, pizza and ice cream, some of my favorite foods, found that the hardest to give up. But for many years before this, I had this undiagnosed digestive condition. I've done so many tests for it. And my health team just was never able to figure out what it was. And, I had this one horrible bout of acid reflux in the spring of 2018 and went back to my naturopath. And she said, you know what, let's try a food sensitivity test. So I took this test, found out I was sensitive to dairy, which later on I would find out most people of color are.
Yeah. A lot of people are two-thirds, I think, in the world.
So after cleansing dairy, among other things, for 4 months, I was like, well, I was able to do it for 4 months. So I can, I'm confident I can do it forever now. And being vegan was always the goal, after all these years. So So that's the date that I sort of count from, spring 2018.
That's great.
Nice.
Because like usually you hear like, oh yeah, just do a cleanse for 4 months and then you can just go back eating dairy again, right?
Yeah.
But you were smart
I
enough
could've,
to
yeah.
realize actually that's the way to go for me to stay healthy.
Right.
Because usually, you hear people just go on a 4 month or a month, but then they find it hard and they're thinking like, oh, well, I did a cleanse, now I can eat dairy again. But that's actually not how health works, right? Because you're allergic to it.
Yeah.
And like there's only like the cleanse, but it doesn't make it away, right? Put it away.
It doesn't fix the problem.
It's really up to you once you get that data to incorporate it into your lifestyle, right? And so there are other things on that list that, like, I found were not very triggering. Like gluten was one of those things, but I don't seem to have any triggers after I eat, items with gluten. And so I'm fine with that. And another one of those items I found was brewer's yeast. And I've always had reactions to alcohol. And so that just having that data told me like, okay, like my body does not like alcohol.
Right.
So since then I've cut out alcohol from my diet as well, just because when you get that data that, your body does not like certain things, you should listen to it.
Oh,
because
totally.
otherwise, you might get certain, just for me, it was pain. That was the worst thing. And then also vomiting in the middle of the night, which is horrible. So I'm happy to report since then, just my symptoms have really gone down and I've learned to manage it. And I think it's really all due to, getting that data that dairy and I don't agree. So
Right.
It's almost like a blessing in disguise. So if you think of alcohol and dairy, it's not good for you anyways. So it's harder to give it up when you are like suffering from it anyways than if you're not allergic to it. Like let's say I'm not allergic to dairy or alcohol, but it just doesn't make me feel good. And I'm more ethical vegan anyways. So for me, it's easier, but for some people it's harder, right? So when you have more like allergies, I think it's like for you too, right? With alcohol and dairy too, right? For
alcohol, dairy,
I
those
feel
triggers.
it was easier for you.
It was easier to give up because of
right?
that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't make you feel good.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what inspired you to write your new book? If you want to tell listeners a little bit about your inspiration.
So interestingly, it started with an intuitive reading I had around the time of my birthday in 2021. The reader said, your spirit guides are saying you're going to work on a book this year. And I went, what? I had no ideas for a book at the time, but I just kept thinking about what I could possibly write about. And and so I thought about always being interested in marketing in general. And then as a new vegan, just what do vegan companies do to market themselves? And so I Googled to see if somebody had written a book about this, and nobody had. The closest thing was Katrina Fox's Vegan Ventures. And that was really the only vegan business book in the world out there. Wow. And so I thought, all right, well, I guess I got to write the second. And and her book really inspired me. It was very much very similar to the format that I was thinking of doing, collecting a lot of case studies. And she had a few chapters about marketing. So I really wanted to take those few chapters she started with and expand that into a book. And so by October 2021, I started sending out requests for marketing stories. And by early January 2022, the book was pretty much written.
Wow. So quick.
Yeah, that was a quick. You're a fast writer. Sometimes it takes people 10 years to write a book.
And you're so passionate about it. I think that's what gives you the fire, right?
It's always been a natural skill, but I had help, without the stories so I was aiming for 50 stories. I got 47 back.
Right.
And then I added another few dozen because I really wanted at least one example for every marketing tactic that I talked about in the book. So I just ended up pulling more from online and got permission to use those stories. And so in the end, there's roughly 80 to 100 businesses in total, vegan businesses in total, mentioned in the book.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what are marketing secrets of vegan and plant-based businesses around the world, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Well, I am sorry to report that after writing this book, There really are no secrets. I've been asked several times, how do vegan businesses market themselves differently than conventional businesses? And the answer is we're all using the same tactics. We all have the same tools at hand. The only difference is with vegan businesses, there might be some more education that's needed. And I find that a lot of vegan companies put this into their messaging anyway, because why would you want to buy a plant-based meat alternative instead of the animal version? Right. And so these types of businesses, especially in food, right, need to do a bit more of education on why their option is better than eating animals. And that's really the only difference.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, could you give maybe some marketing? I know we don't want to give away, like you said, there wasn't any secrets, but I'm sure there's some marketing secrets of how you can get your audience maybe more engaged in, say, your YouTube or your Instagram channel or something. Just a quick little bit to tease them so they want to get your book to learn more.
Yeah. So what you'll get from my book is I really wanted to share all of the possible tactics you could do and you could use to form your own strategy. Every company's strategy is different, right? So from your old school traditional advertising all the way up to, of course, digital marketing. And that is the biggest chapter. So that tells you that digital marketing, public relations as well. Those are the two biggest chapters. And so those are the tactics that most companies are using. And so in terms of Instagram, a couple of folks talked about the documenting style. So Kelly Bennett, who's a creative director in New York City, she works with a lot of brands. She kind of walks the talk. So she just tells people using I believe Instagram stories and reels are her kind of tactics. And so she just tells people like what's going on in my business. And that documenting style really helps you to take your audience on the journey with you, with whatever you're doing in your business. And then an example of a bigger company that does this really well is Midday Squares out in Montreal.
Oh, I love Midday Squares.
Oh, these ones. Yeah. They're
I
just thought
they're
of
amazing.
Aren't they good? I love. Yeah.
So
whenever I'm working on the road, I'm like, I need a Midday Square. Plug.
Midday or in the morning? When do you crave them?
Midday, like 3 o'clock.
Just how
get
the
me
word
through
is.
some overtime. Yeah.
So it's already inspiring. Yeah. The word itself.
I know, great name. Yeah. And then they run their content ships so well. So I tell the story in the book of how their first hire or one of their first hires on the operations side was a videographer, because like they hired a videographer before their first salesperson because they knew that documenting was going to be such an important part of their strategy. And many, years later now, it shows how successful they've been able to be. And their followership, they're huge fans, right? Like I was a fan of their content before I even tried their products. Yeah. And then when I found out that really good, I'm a super fan now, right? And they share everything. So wins, they share their failures, all of the cease and desist letters that they've gotten from their competitors like Hershey and Reese. And of course they've got a podcast. And so they really do the documenting style really well. And in terms of YouTube, many of the the contributors didn't really mention YouTube in terms of like how they use it, but I would say, similar to what I've been saying, right? Just be really honest, try and share engaging content that nobody else is sharing. And then, just do your best to drive people to your channel, right? Both in terms of making your channel aesthetically pleasing. I come across YouTube channels where they don't have a banner, they don't have a logo, branding, like no thumbnails on their videos. And so it's really hard to know what they're about. Just the tools are all there. Make sure you make your channel aesthetically pleasing when somebody arrives to your channel, and then of course use all of the keywords that you're going to be found with in your title and your description. Use the tags feature. All of that stuff is there. Remember that YouTube is owned by Google, right? And so it operates very much the same way as Google does. You got to put your keywords in there.
Great points.
Yeah, great points. So How about you can maybe tell us a little bit about how on and offline tactics contribute to like a cohesive marketing strategy?
Yeah. So like I said, there's a combo of both of those things in the book, right? So to give you a rundown of I'll give you a rundown of the content
Sure.
to give you an idea. So chapter 1 is on marketing basics. And so things, I wasn't even going to write this chapter, but yeah, I was inspired to just because of the stories that came in. And so things like, should I have the word vegan in my company name?
Right.
Get research, customer service. So chapter 1 will give you all of sort of those basics when you're starting out. Chapter 2 is on advertising and direct marketing. So again, offline tactics. Chapter 3 is sales promotions, which can be both offline and online. Chapter 4 is public relations. Similar thing. Very much. It started off offline, but very much has turned into an online tactic. Chapter 5 is digital marketing. Chapter 6 is events and direct selling. So going back to that face-to-face element. And I think that's so important, especially for vegan companies. E-commerce is very much the way to go right now when you sell your products or services,
right.
But sampling, events, these sort of things give you face-to-face contact with your customer where you can both, get direct feedback from them and of course, get them to sample your product. So that offline element is super important. And then chapter 7, sort of a mishmash of different topics that didn't really warrant their own chapter. So how companies pivoted during the pandemic, how they build their word of mouth strategy, diversity inclusion, the importance of that. I'm really proud of that section. And then ending off with companies that marketed their vegan transition. So companies that weren't vegan before and then made that transition. So so that's an idea of what you'll get from the book.
That's
Wow.
awesome. Yeah.
So
if
much
anyone's thinking
information.
about switching to a vegan business, definitely pick up this book.
Yeah,
Give you
there's
some-
so many cool stories.
Yeah, because it's not easy,
Yeah.
switching your whole entire, it's switching your marketing, your branding a bit.
It's a risk.
It is a risk,
Yeah.
right? So, but if you do it smartly, I think you could easily make your company even better than it was before.
Yeah, exactly. And
You know.
with a good cause.
Yeah, and it's a great thing to make that transition as it is, but you definitely, again, we've been talking about documenting, share that journey with your customers and take them along that journey so that by the time now you've got your entire product supply chain is vegan. They have a reason to celebrate with you. So there's a whole marketing campaign you can do just around that. Do not forget that. Because I think the more time passes and people recognize the importance of a vegan lifestyle, companies have to follow suit. And so, I would say if you're thinking about doing that or in the process of doing that, do not forget the value of the marketing there.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely.
Do you do any like private, like if someone like a company could maybe hire you to do like a transition like that? Or is that something you're looking to maybe get into if you're not? Just curious.
I've thought about it
Yeah.
because one of the contributors to my book, Meredith Marin, she runs a company called Vegan Hospitality,
Right.
which is, mostly hospitality focused. It trains anyone around the world, if you want to take her program, to help veganize their city. And, that's going to be primarily with restaurants, hotels, that kind of a thing, right?
Right.
And she's so amazing, and so many people have taken her program now. I think over people in over 18 states in the U.S. It could be more by now. These are just the stats that I know from when she submitted her story, and then 20 countries around the world. So she's really expanding her reach globally. And I've thought of it. Vancouver is quite a very vegan friendly city.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of restaurants, and I'm going to name the high end ones. Like it's you folks that, you're already like serving up $30-$40 dishes.
Right.
But if you don't have a vegan option, what does that say about your restaurant? Like you can cut up an animal and cook it and put it on a plate, but you can't do the same thing with vegetables. Like,
Yeah,
come
exactly.
on. Like,
Not creative enough.
You should be a master chef.
I've thought about maybe taking Meredith's program and doing that for Vancouver, but it's not something I've yet taken serious steps to do.
Yeah, there's still time, I guess.
I guess that leads into my next question about any future goals that you're planning to achieve in the near future.
I'm launching a couple new things. Just adding a few new services. So depending on when this airs, it might already be up.
Right.
Nothing too big. I'd really love to ghostwrite a book this year because ghostwriting is one of those things. I'd love to be a ghostwriter for vegan authors. That's kind of one of my big career goals. Wow. And so I'm actually ghostwriting a friend's memoir pro bono.
Oh, wow.
And I'm really enjoying that process. And so we hop on Zoom, we record them telling their story, and then I go and transcribe and clean that up for the manuscript. And it's just really enjoying that process. And so, if there are any folks out there, you think you have a great story to tell in book form, and you need a ghostwriter, like you're not the type of person who's going to sit at your laptop, reach out to me because I'd love to work with you.
Hey, Rich Roll, if you're listening.
Yeah, maybe us.
Sandra's the right person.
I don't have time to write a book.
I'm sure he's got.
Or Pamela Anderson after her documentary.
Yeah, maybe Pamela might be giving you a call.
Yeah, she's a local.
I think she's already put out a memoir.
She already put out her memoir?
Maybe she needs another one after her Netflix documentary.
Hey. Yeah, she's got to keep the role going.
Yeah, you want to do part 2? I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. Yeah, so where can the listeners find you, and where can they pick up your book?
All roads point to my name, sandranomoto.com. It's available in ebook, paperback, audio. I put all those links on my site. So just hop onto my products page and you'll find them all there.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show links. Make sure people can find you. And if they want to get a hold of you to ghostwrite a book, we'll make sure they can contact you.
Yeah, right. The great content creators right here. Awesome. Thanks so much for being on our show, and we really value your time.
Yeah, it was a pleasure having you this morning, Sandra, and we wish you all the best in your endeavors and keep on writing.
Yeah, all the best. And we're so proud of you.
Thanks so much. This is a real pleasure. Thanks, Julia.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care, Sandra?
Bye. Have a great day.
You too.
Ciao.
Bye.